Okay guys, you know that I have to talk fast in these things because I only have so much time. But I wanted to go back over the numeric and algebraic operations practice for our test. Okay. You have done lots and lots of factoring, but I think that you just need some review, and some of these you see the same things over and over. So the first one, 98x squared minus 18. Both of those will divide by 2. So we can factor out a 2, and it becomes 2 times 49x squared minus 9. Then this is a difference of squares, so we have 2 times 7x plus 3 times 7x minus 3. And that is your final answer. Okay. Number 2, they both will divide by 3. So if we divide out a 3, we have 9x squared minus 4, which factors into 3x plus 2 and 3x minus 2. Now remember, we talked about in class that these problems will probably have multiple answers that you might think are correct, but you want the factored completely one. For example, this problem, you would probably have this as an answer, which would be the correct one. You also would have this as an answer, and then you might have something like 9x plus 6 times 3x minus 2, or 3x plus 2 times 9x minus 6. So all of these, like this might be a choice, this one a choice, choice. All of these are factored, are factors of 27x squared minus 12, but you want the one that's factored completely. So make sure that you don't just jump at the first one that looks right, and that you pay attention to that. Next, 4x to the 4th minus 4. If we factor out a 4, we get x to the 4th minus 1. So that gives us 4 times x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 1, because x to the 4th is a perfect square. But now this one would factor again. So again, this might be one of your choices, but it's not the right one, because this factors again into x plus 1, x minus 1. And then the last one won't factor because it's not a difference of squares. The sum of squares won't factor. Okay, 98x squared minus 32. This one, both of these will divide by 2. So if we factor out a 2, we get 49x squared minus 16. So you have 2 times 7x minus 4 times 7x plus 4. And it doesn't matter which one's first, the plus or the minus. As you can tell, sometimes I do one first, and then sometimes I do the other one first. Okay, and then we get into just some trinomials. If we factor out a 2, we are left with x squared plus 3x minus 10. That may be one of your choices, but this will factor again into x plus 5 times x minus 2. So that would be your final answer. X squared plus 12xy plus 25y squared. This is a normal sort of trinomial. If you look at this, if you look at it without the y, if you stare at that, it's x squared plus 12x plus 25. You want to look, and this particular one may not be the greatest of examples because this one won't factor. You can't factor anything to get 25. But let's just say this one is prime. It won't factor. So I don't know if they gave you that one as a prime one or if I just miscopied it from somebody's paper. So let's try, what if we had x squared plus 12xy plus 32y squared? So then if we look at x squared plus 12x plus 32, if you just concentrate on that part of it and ignore the y's, 8 and 4 would multiply to give you 32 and add to give you 12. So that would be x plus 4 and x plus 8. Those would multiply to give you 32 and add to give you 12. But we need 32y squared and 12xy. Well, if we just put a y in here with each of these, that'll get us our 32y squared and our 12xy in the middle. Okay? Next one, 3x squared plus 13x plus 14. If we do this by the divide and slide method that we usually did in class, if we multiply 3 times 14, we get x squared plus 13x plus 42. Then we say, well, what would multiply to give us 42 and add to 13? That would be 6 and 7. And now we have to do our divide and slide part. We have to divide by what we multiplied here. So if we divide by 3, we're going to get x plus 2. And then since this one won't divide, we're going to slide it in front of that. So you get 3x plus 7. And then just always double check your FOIL and make sure that that's going to give you what you started with. Number 8. We talked about earlier, always look to see if something will divide out as a factor, and these all will divide by 4. So that means we can factor out a 4 from the beginning, and we get x squared minus 10x plus 24. So that would be 4 times x minus 6 times x minus 4. Because they multiply to 24 and add to negative 10. Okay, the next one, I would group and group. You can do the box method, but grouping, you're going to get x squared times x minus 3. And then for the second one, you can factor out a 16. And that would be x minus 3 again. Watch your sign, since this is a plus. Negative times negative gives you that positive. So now they're both x minus 3's. So that's a factor. And then x squared minus 16. And we don't have much room. This is x minus 3. The x squared minus 16 factors again. X plus 4, x minus 4. And then in the last one, if we factor out an x squared here, we get x minus 6. If we factor out a negative 25 here, we get x minus 6. So same sort of idea. We have x minus 6 times x squared minus 25, which is x minus 6, x plus 5, x minus 5. Okay. Now, the next one is binomial expansions. I told you all this might take a couple videos. This might take several videos. Binomial expansion. So if we don't get to, this is probably all we're going to get to on this video. And then just watch for the other videos and pick out the ones that you need. Binomial expansion is something we have not had time to do, so this is a very quick lesson on binomial expansion. There are n plus 1 terms. So in other words, down here, this one is a 4th power, so it's going to have 5 terms. This one will have 4 terms, 6 terms, 5 terms, 4 terms. So you're going to have one more term than what is here, than what your power is. Okay, and each term has 3 parts to it. Each term has a coefficient, an A part, and a B part. Okay, so the coefficient comes from Pascal's triangle. Pascal's triangle, we did this in class, so I'm going to go through this really quickly. Most people were here for this, but you start with a 1, and then the next row has 1s, and then the next row is a 1, but then you start adding. 1 plus 1 is 2, then you have another 1. And then we have 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3, end with a 1. 1, 1 plus 3 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6, 3 plus 1 is 4, another 1, and then 1, 1 plus 4 is 5, 4 plus 6 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 10, 4 plus 1 is 5, and another 1. And we could keep going all day, but this is all we need. This is row 1, this is row 0, like where you start. This is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and row 5. Now notice here that we said this one would need 5 terms, and if you go to row 4, there are 5 numbers. So that is going to be where we're going to start. Now the way I do these is I draw a big box so that I can keep it straight. Now we know we're going to have 4 terms. Or, sorry, we're going to have 5 terms because we're to the 4th power. So I draw me a box. This helps us keep track of the 5 terms. Okay. So first part is a coefficient. The coefficient comes from the row. This is power of 4, so we're going to do row 4. So our coefficients are 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. And then next, we are going to take the first one, and it's going to start with this power and go down. So we're going to have 3x, this is our A part, 3x to the 4th, and then it's going to go down, 3x squared, 3x third, 3x squared, 3x, and then no x's. Then the last one, our B part, we have none, and then we have 4 to the 1st, 4 to the 2nd, 4 to the 3rd, 4 to the 4th. Okay, so again, 3 parts. The coefficient comes from the row. 4th power, 4th row, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. The next one comes from the A part. This is the A part. And then we start at the power and go down. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1, none. And then this is our B part. And that gives us none, 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we're going to get our numbers for this, and I'm going to have to hurry because my video time is about up. So my numbers for this is 3 to the 4th is 81. So the first one is 81 x to the 4th. And then our second one, we have 4 times 3 to the 2nd, nope, 3 to the 3rd times 4. So we have 432 x to the 3rd. And then we have 6 times 3 squared times, times 4 squared equals 864 x squared. And then 4 times 3 times 4 to the 3rd gives us 768 x, and then 4 to the 4th gives us 256. So that is our answer. It's really easy once you see the pattern of what you're doing to do these. And some of these you're going to have some negatives in here. So this is 3, so it means we're going to have 4 boxes. Row 3 is 1, 3, 3, 1. And then we've got 2x to the 3rd, 2x squared, 2x, no 2x. And then negative 2y, no negative 2y, and then negative 2y, and then negative 2y squared, and then negative 2y to the 3rd. Sorry, that's a little messy. I shouldn't have scrunched it in there. So 2x to the 3rd, 2 to the 3rd is 8, so you've got 8x to the 3rd. 2 squared is 4 times 3 times negative 2 gives you negative 24, and then x squared y. And then this one is going to end up plus 4 times 6 is 24 xy squared minus 8y cubed. So that's your answer. Notice you go 3, 2, 1, none on your x's, and then none, 1, 2, 3 on your y's. I'm going to have to stop because my time's about up. Next video.